everyone, and welcome to this week's Naked Truth. Trisha Hershberger here. Before we go ahead and jump into this week's incredibly controversial topic, I want to make sure to thank the Naked Army vloggers who vlogged about smiling last week. A much lighter subject. That's Kavaja, Chrisanne, Hiram, Nathan, James, Kenny, Richard, Prescott and Kristen, Lawrence, Dominic, El Pollo, and Jenny. If you want to check out their vlogs, I will link to them in the description below. I'm also relinking to the code and the link for the teeth whitening that I said you could get 70% off last time. I actually found out not only can you get 70% off the kind that I used, but they're offering that same discount on a bunch of their other products too. So check that out if that's something you were thinking about. I'm relinking to that in the description below as well. So let's go ahead and get into this week's very controversial and probably upsetting topic for a lot of people. So this was spurred on because yesterday morning a video came out that was a secretly filmed video put out by a company with a very specific agenda, showing one of the head officials of Planned Parenthood casually discussing what appears to be selling body parts of aborted fetuses post-abortion from Planned Parenthood. And so obviously, you know, anyone who reads the title like Planned Parenthood is selling body parts is going to be like, oh God. And it's a super shock tactic title. And it's actually why I used it as the title for this video, because that's what's going to make people think about this video. And in this video, in this Naked Truth video, we are discussing that video specifically. I want to try to keep this discussion away from the pro-life or pro-choice debate in general and more on to, let's take a look at, you know, what there is to be concerned about in this video and what there is that's also very questionable in this video. So most media outlets and most people in general won't touch this discussion with a 10-foot pole, which is why I thought it was important for us as the Naked Army community to talk about it with as much honesty as we could. And, you know, maybe we'll all learn from each other like usually. So the official that was in the video was the senior director of Planned Parenthood, and she was at a meeting with people from the Center for Medical Progress, but they weren't putting themselves out there like that. They were posing as and acting as a biometrics company who wanted to buy this tissue, and she was having lunch with them and just kind of casually discussing things. And so there are very questionable things about this video. The Center for Medical Progress, this company that released the video, released a very edited and very one-sided part of this discussion to further their means. They're very obviously a company and a corporation whose sole intent is to discredit Planned Parenthood and to discredit other, my guess would be pro-choice organizations like that. So that immediately, you know, if you're thinking, well, they definitely have an agenda, how credible then are they as a source? I don't know, to answer you. I wish, you know, if they were something that had 10 years of experience, then I would know that, but I don't. Also, the video that they showed, they said was originally filmed in July of 2014. So why did they wait a year to release it? I have no idea. Planned Parenthood released a statement saying, you know, this video was very heavily edited and it was secretly recorded, you know, showing that these people are just out to get them. And so, while I do agree, the initial video that I saw was about 8 minutes and it was super heavily edited, and kind of mishmashed pieces from different things. It showed a reporter reporting on it, which I would think that if that happened, we all would have heard about it when that originally happened instead of now. So it seems very manufactured. But they also posted the full 2-hour and like 45-minute lunch conversation unedited as well. So for the purposes of this video, let's talk about the unedited version and, you know, try to glean what that from any insights from that we can. But let's talk about the unedited version. So in the unedited version, I actually watched the whole thing because it's something that, you know, I feel like I should know about. There were a couple things that were disturbing to me. You know, anytime people are talking about pro-life, pro-choice, abortion in general, there's the differences in verbiage that people use. So, you know, are you calling it a fetus? Are you calling it a baby? Are you calling it tissue, or are you calling it body parts or organs? And in this video, the woman who's the official from Planned Parenthood does say, does use the actual organ names when she's talking about some people want lungs, some people want hearts. And she says things that are like, sometimes you have to crush a certain area to keep another area intact. And just for me, that it like is immediately that shock value of, oh, that's not right. That's so not right. And so that was disturbing to me, the language that was used. But I mean, I guess what other, you can only kind of use the detached language so much, I guess. I'm not really sure. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And another thing that was disturbing about it for me is the idea of is Planned Parenthood selling these body parts to make money for profit, or as they ascertain in their statement in response to this, that they're donating them to scientific research, and that they have the mothers, the patients, sign off that they want this tissue donated for research instead of just being disposed of. And it definitely raises the ethical question, obviously thinking of selling body parts, like murdering these people, and selling their body parts, that is ethically awful, and it's actually against the federal law. But when you're talking about then donating the parts to further scientific research that could help people, that makes it a lot more of a gray area. And to be perfectly honest, I don't know where I stand on that. When they're talking about it in the video, it's unclear if she does talk about monetary value, like how much you can get for a specific body part. She talks about like $30 to $100, depending which part. And in the unedited version, like I said, it's kind of unclear what she's talking about. Planned Parenthood came out and said, those are costs associated with storage and shipping that she's talking about there. I don't know if there's a way for us to know one way or the other who is right and who is wrong in this situation, but it certainly is disturbing to think that, that the possibility's even there. Another thing that was very disturbing for me is when she talks about the means of collecting these parts, this tissue sample. Partial birth abortion is illegal here in the US. And for those of you who don't know what that is, I'm not going to get into the gross details of it, but it's essentially when a baby or a fetus is partially birthed out of the mother, and then the abortion takes place. And at least in the US law, it says if the head's out, that's the case, or if the baby's coming out in breech position, which is kind of like butt first, once you're past the navel, that would then be considered a partial birth abortion. Partial birth abortion, for me personally, I think is horrific. So this really concerned me, because she was talking about, using ultrasounds to put the baby in the breech, or to put the fetus in the breech position as it's coming out, so that you can harvest, she actually uses the word harvest, certain organs intact and keep them intact, based on what the client, whether it be a research facility or who knows, is looking for at the time. She also has a quote in there where she says, a lot of these laws are up for interpretation. So those things to me all sounded very disturbing. I am obviously not a doctor, so I don't have that background. It just certainly raised some questions for me. And she also did mention in the interview that the legal department for Planned Parenthood won't let any of these organizations that are looking to purchase this tissue interact with Planned Parenthood directly. They have to go through regional affiliates, and that's a legal concern. Again, I'm not a legal professional, but that raised a question mark for me as well. And Planned Parenthood's response was, very much, we're out there trying to help people, and, we're trying to donate this to science with the further goal of helping people. And that's what she was talking about, and her words were misconstrued. So I think it is important, if this is something that concerns you, to watch the entire video. And I still, to be perfectly honest, am not sure that we have all the facts. Snopes.com right now has this video at an undetermined factuality, because I think everyone can see that very obviously the company that put this video out there has malintent and is trying very much so to expose Planned Parenthood and to make them look bad in the public spotlight. But I think that the reason that a lot of media outlets aren't quite covering yet covering it yet are that we just don't know how factual that is. I do think that if any of the things that they're asserting or any of the things that raise question marks for me are going on, they should certainly be fully investigated, and I would hope that they would be. And I think it's going to take people talking about it to get anything like that done. So, I mean, the good thing about this video coming out is that I think it's always good to educate people as to what's really going on. So if there are facts coming to light that have been hidden for whatever reason, that's always good to educate people and show people what's going on. But it's not good if it's specifically just slander. So my question for you guys is, do you think that this video, if you saw it, if you've been talking about it, if you want to go check it out now and then answer me later, do you think that this is an expose that's uncovering things, or do you think it's pure slander? Why or why not? Please let us know in the comments. Speaking of in the comments, please be as respectful to each other's opinions as possible, to each other. If you're going to, disagree with someone's opinion, that is absolutely encouraged, but please try to do it from a we're all furthering each other's education standpoint rather than attacking other people as individuals. Attack opinions, not individuals. Yeah, I had to make a video about this because as someone who is very personally completely disgusted by partial birth abortions and obviously by any kind of trafficking of human body parts, this was very upsetting to me. And I'm told that Planned Parenthood, even though I don't know that much about it, I'm told that Planned Parenthood educates women and offers preventative care and free birth control and, helps in a lot of ways. But if partial birth or super late term abortions or human trafficking are involved, then that's obviously not something that I don't think anyone wants to stand behind, not to mention that it's against the law. So let me know your thoughts, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and stuff. And if you want to make your own Naked Truth vlog in response this week, I imagine there's going to be some really good ones. You can do that by uploading a video to YouTube and sending me the link via the email address in the About section of this channel. All right, guys, have a happy week, and I will see you next time.